Hello there and welcome to your Newsmax Daily for Friday, July the 4th, 2025, Independence Day in the USA, celebrating America's 249th birthday and all things America. If you're road tripping this weekend, good news, gas prices are the lowest that they've been in the past 4 4th of July weekends. 4 years, AAA says the average price of regular is $3.16 a gallon. That's down about 10% from a year ago, down about 15% from 2 years ago. I hope you're having a terrific holiday, however you may be celebrating it, and thank you to those that are working today to keep all of us safe and keep the country running, and thank you as well for listening to the podcast. In addition to celebrating Independence Day today with the First Lady and military families, President Trump is going to sign the One Big Beautiful Bill Act passed yesterday by the House into law during a ceremony at the White House today. The bill passing 218 to 214 with 2 Republicans, Representative Thomas Massie of Kentucky and Brian Fitzpatrick of Pennsylvania, joining all Democrats in opposing the bill. Not one single solitary Democrat voting for the bill, which makes the president's 2017 tax cuts permanent, reduces taxes on tips and overtime, temporarily raises the cap on state and local taxes known as the SALT tax, as well as providing billions for Homeland Security and many other things. And yes, is projected to add more than $3 trillion to the deficit. President Trump spoke about it at a rally in Iowa last night.
I want to thank Republican congressmen and women because what they did is incredible last night. And the Senate, the Republican Senate, we got, not with all of the things we did with the tax cuts and rebuilding our military, not one Democrat voted for us. And I think we use it in the campaign that's coming up, the midterms, because we got to beat them. But all of the things that we've given, and they wouldn't vote only because they hate Trump. But I hate them too, you know that? So it's sort of me. I really do. I hate them. I cannot stand them because I really believe they hate our country. You want to know the truth? But it kicks illegal aliens off of Medicaid and food stamps and allows us to hire 3,000 new Border Patrol agents and 10,000 new ICE agents, and they are great patriots, the Border Patrol and ICE, to carry out the largest deportation operation in the history of our country. And I don't like saying that. I don't like saying that. But we have a country. We have a country to run. And we have so many people coming in that shouldn't be here. And they did. They came in from prisons, and they came in from drugs and gangs and drug lords, the worst in the world. They came in from mental institutions. They emptied mental institutions into our wonderful country. And I know exactly what's going on in Iowa. You had some horrible crime in Iowa caused by illegal aliens, but we're getting them the hell out of here. We have no choice. And our great, big, beautiful bill, it will build the Golden Dome missile defense shield. We're going to have the best shield. And you saw that just the other day where the missiles are being shot down one after another. You know, they called me to tell me they have to take a shot at us. This was Iran, very respectful. That means they respect us. Because we dropped 14 bombs, they said, we'd like to take 14 shots at you. I said, go ahead, I understand. They said, where they'd do it. I said, good, we emptied out the fort. It was a beautiful military base in Qatar who treated us really fantastically well. And they said, sir, 1 o'clock, okay? I said, it's fine. We could make it later. And we had nobody but 4 gunners. We had 4, they call them gunners, and they shoot the Patriots. They shoot the missiles up. It's hard to believe. So all of a sudden, they said, we're ready. And they were a little nervous about doing it, I want to tell you. Can you imagine? They were nice enough. This is Iran, to call me and tell me that they would like to shoot me at 14 times. So they want to shoot us. And I said, go ahead. And they shot 14 high-grade, very fast missiles. Every single one of them was shot down routinely by these 4 unbelievable gunmen. And they did their job, and that was the end of that. But the big thing was the attack on their nuclear facilities, what those people did. And, you know, they're going to be in Washington tomorrow at the White House. We're going to be celebrating. We took not only the pilots, but the people that flew the other planes, but also the mechanics that had these planes going for 37 hours without a stop. You know, we had 50, it was so far away, we had 52 tankers. Think of that, 52 that's loaded up with oil. I wouldn't want to fly one of those suckers over a random. I say, what happens if they're shot at? Well, sir, that's a tough situation. It's not a pretty sight, but they were unbelievable. 52 tankers to load them up. They followed the planes in, and they never had to stop for fuel. They went 37 hours, actually. And how incredible. What equipment. What equipment. And, you know, China, Russia, they were all watching. Everybody was watching. We have the greatest equipment anywhere in the world. We have the greatest people anywhere in the world. And we have the strongest military anywhere in the world.
That was last night at the America 250 event in Des Moines, Iowa. On his way to Iowa, on board Air Force One, the president signed an executive order that suggests generating additional revenue for the country by charging foreign tourists higher fees at America's national parks. Trump got back to the White House after midnight last night or this morning. There are several Independence Day events taking place at the White House today and tonight, plus the signing of the One Big Beautiful Bill ceremony. And around 9:45 p.m., the president and first lady will head for the Trump Golf Resort in Bedminster, New Jersey for the weekend. And as I said yesterday, to celebrate or relish an absolutely amazing week of accomplishments. If you go back to last Friday, it's stunning. House Speaker Mike Johnson, who played a big role in some of the accomplishments, spoke with Rob Finnerty.
All right, joining us now for more is House Speaker Mike Johnson. Mr. Speaker, great to see you.
Hey, Rob, great to see you as always. This was a big day in the history of our country.
Yeah, it absolutely was. I call you the silent assassin of the Republican Party. Somehow you have been able to do what John Boehner, Paul Ryan, Kevin McCarthy, and many others could not, so congratulations. You lost just 2 votes, 2 Republicans. Was there ever a moment over the last several days where you thought this might not happen?
You know, it was dicey, honestly, along the way, but I never did take my eye off that prize, and I believed that this group could deliver this big agenda, the One Big Beautiful Bill. I mean, really, this is about 90% of the America First agenda all lobbed into one giant piece of legislation. We wanted to go big. We wanted to go early. We did it, I think, in probably record time, certainly, for a piece of legislation this large and comprehensive and complex. But we got it delivered. You know why? Because, Rob, I believe in my colleagues. The American people have sent some courageous, patriotic Republicans to Congress. They all believe deeply in their heart in that America First agenda, and they want to put America first again. This legislation is arguably the most conservative legislation of our lifetime, and we got it done.
Were you surprised, honestly, that not a single Democrat crossed the aisle to vote for either version of this bill in the Senate or in the House? Not one Democrat.
I can't believe that they didn't, but I'm not surprised. Look, this is not your father's Democratic Party. I mean, look, they've gone far woke progressive left, and they don't seem to be able to recognize they've got to turn and come back to the center. They're going further and further left. You see that with candidates that are emerging around the country and some of the actions and antics that they've done on the House floor as they did today. They don't seem to recognize that they're committing political suicide for their party. Meanwhile, Republicans are not into pageantry or performance. We are delivering results. And that's what we did today. And I tell you what, this bill is going to help every single American. It is geared for the working, hardworking middle-class people. And it's going to give them great economic relief. And we had the largest tax cuts in U.S. history that we adopted today. The Democrats voted against those tax cuts, right? We had the largest savings, largest spending reductions ever enacted by Congress. We did that today in the bill, as well as border security, national security, American energy dominance, all the priorities the president talked about on the campaign trail, and we did too. We delivered.
No, it's been Cajun rule on Capitol Hill. You and your fellow Louisianans, Steve Scalise, have done a remarkable job, and I don't think you get the credit that you deserve. How much did Hakeem Jeffries help your case by delivering that speech, which started on the House floor at what, I think just before 5 o'clock this morning?
Yeah, right at 5 a.m. He went over 8 hours. It was a snooze fest. I mean, he put his own colleagues to sleep sitting behind him. He was trying to break a record and make a point. All he did was make a mockery of their position. And he had outrageous lies about the bill. We were able to dispel that because the facts are stubborn things, as John Adams used to say. Look, this bill is going to be good for everyone. It delivers on the agenda. We couldn't get it done fast enough because the American people need relief. You remember after the first 2 years of the first Trump administration, we brought about the greatest economy in the history of the world because we cut taxes and we cut regulations. This is that again, but on steroids with
Absolutely.
Everything else in it. And the Democrats are panicking right now because they know what we just did.
I want to play everyone at home one moment from your speech this afternoon. Take a listen.
Ronald Reagan said one time that no speech should be longer than 20 minutes. And unlike the Democrat leader, I'm going to honor my colleagues' time and be a little more brief than that.
All right, but you spoke for, I think, 24 minutes, so you broke your own rule.
Did it? Was it 24 minutes?
Yes,
I don't know.
It was.
That's because of the applause lines. I had to break for the standing ovations. My colleagues were so excited about
Mr.
what
Speaker,
we were doing. I guess I didn't time that right.
Yeah, the applause lines.
Right.
Do you expect the president to make good on his promise to primary people like Thomas Massie and perhaps Brian Fitzpatrick who voted no today?
Well, I don't know. I tell you what, I talked to the president most recently an hour ago before he was getting on the flight to go to Iowa. He's in a great mood. He knows we got a great win. It's a great thing for the party and for his administration and his agenda. He's on quite a winning streak. I don't think he's thinking a lot about retribution right now. I think he's thinking about what we're going to deliver for the people. And I tell you what, I was involved in a conversation late last night between Thomas Massie and the president of the United States. And it was very thoughtful. And Thomas Massie, in fact, flipped his vote from no to yes on the rule vote that allowed us to proceed to get that thing done. That was a big thing, and I think that maybe it's the beginnings of a truce between the two. I'm trying to be a peacemaker. I think it's good for the party for all of us to be moving in the same direction.
Oh, that's interesting. How big a role did the president play working the phones last night, calling members who may have been on the fence, members of the Freedom Caucus?
He's not only the most powerful president of our lifetimes and arguably maybe in all of U.S. history, he's also the most engaged, and he was fully involved in this and was willing to talk to any member that I needed him to speak to. He's got a lot going on, so I tried to keep him insulated from that as much as possible, but he brought subgroups of members on his own to the White House, just to visit with him and talk to him about the importance of the agenda. That was very effective in this process. I mean, he deserves a lot of credit. This president is on his A game, and the long list of wins is really phenomenal. I think it's unmatched in the modern era, and we're going to keep this momentum going. Rob, this is just the first of a series of steps, of things that we are going to deliver for the American people, and we are excited. The Republican Party is here to stay.
House Speaker Mike Johnson on Finnerty, who says the one big, beautiful bill is only the beginning. Johnson plans on another reconciliation bill towards the end of the year for fiscal 2026 and another for fiscal 27. Unfortunately, the stock markets are closed today for the holiday. Otherwise, we likely would be adding to yesterday's new record highs on the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. Finnerty also spoke with the Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent.
We want to welcome in Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Mr. Secretary, nice to see you.
Hi, good to see you.
I want to bring up the markets initially because I think it's all connected to the big, beautiful bill. The NASDAQ, the S&P, both setting records today. And I know that you built a long, successful career listening to the markets and not Wall Street economists or the CBO. What did the market tell you today?
Look, the markets have been telling us this for a long time, and it's not just the stock market, it's the bond market. Markets live in the future, and markets anticipated that this bill was going to pass. Markets understand the non-inflationary growth that we're going to get here. So just so all your viewers understand, after the panic over the tariffs in April, I call it tariff derangement syndrome. After that panic, we had the fastest recovery from a 15% drawdown in history. The stock market set a new high, and then the bond market, which I watch like a hawk, had its best 6 months in the past 5 years. So bond markets like this, they think, as the Speaker Johnson said, we are going to right our fiscal ship, and stock markets like growth. So this is a great combination of growth with fiscal restraint.
I want to ask you just about where we are. We're at almost the 6-month mark of Donald Trump's second term. Gas nationwide is at its lowest level since the last time Donald Trump was president. The jobs report today beating expectations. The Dow is at almost 45,000. We talked about the S&P and the NASDAQ. Inflation is falling 2.4%. We're close to peace deals on 3 fronts: Ukraine, Gaza, Iran. We have a peace deal with Rwanda and the Congo. The Waffle House even removed their 50-cent surcharge on eggs. So things are going much better than they were 6 months ago. Let me ask you, just as Treasury Secretary, where are we 6 months from now?
I can't tell you how excited I am, because I think on Monday, everyone's going to take a break tomorrow to celebrate the 4th. On Monday, I think the pent-up demand that business leaders have been holding back until they got the certainty from this tax bill is going to start making its way into the economy.
Yeah.
As I've said many times, President Trump's economic agenda is a 3-legged stool. It's trade, it's taxes, and it's deregulation. So we're landing the trade deals. Those are coming in. You know, I can't even describe the inroads we're making against this unfair trade that's gone on for decades. We passed the tax bill on July 4th. President Trump, Leader Thune, Speaker Johnson, incredible leadership. And probably the most underrated portion of the president's agenda is the deregulation, because that is what is going to create the supply side, which means we can have this fantastic growth without inflation.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent on Finnerty last night. Yesterday, President Trump said that his administration would likely start notifying trade partners today of new U.S. tariffs on their goods effective August the 1st. Based on what happened yesterday, the stock markets, like I said, likely would be rallying today. However, with Trump talking about tariffs again, maybe they wouldn't be. He said about 10 or 12 letters would be going out today warning countries of tariffs as high as 70%. Meanwhile, Indonesia is the latest country to come to the table, offering to buy more U.S. aircrafts and wheat and offering near zero tariffs on American exports. Indonesia currently faces a 32% tariff on their goods into the United States. VA Secretary Doug Collins, whose department, by the way, is going to benefit greatly from the One Big Beautiful Bill, spoke with our Bianca De La Garza ahead of the Independence Day holiday.
I want to touch on something, because 4th of July, there were these Free America protests, people dissenting the Trump administration. We talk about a lot of times in politics, the left seems to be against, what is happening and not rooting for America. And now there's this Gallup poll finding national pride is at an all-time low. 36% of Democrats, 53% of independents saying they're proud to be an American. That's very low. And then you have rhetoric like this. I want to play this and get your reaction, because I know it's not how we feel, but there is sort of a disturbing and alarming trend in some places. And I think the media on the left is feeding this as well. Let's play this.
I was on Long Island this weekend visiting a really dear friend, and I was really disturbed. I saw, dozens and dozens of pickup trucks with, explicatives against Joe Biden on the back of them, Trump flags, and some cases just dozens of American flags, which, is also just disturbing.
This 4th of July, do not go to the parades. Do not gather at the fireworks shows. Don't wave a flag for a country that no longer waves it for you.
Free speech. American flags are disturbing because they're okay with the Palestine flags that are coming up in the anti-Semitism, I guess. But your reaction to that and how MSNBC is putting that out there as well.
It's heartbreaking, to be honest. As someone who has served this country for over 23 years in the military, but also served it in many capacities, it's just heartbreaking. But also, it also says, I'll just say, God bless America. Because these people who want to complain and criticize the very country that allows them to do that, what a great place. I mean, look, they're wrong. I believe this country is a shining light and the beacon upon a hill, and I think President Trump believes that as well. And they have the right to sit there and gripe about a country that feeds them, loves them, and cares for them, and then yet they don't want to leave. I don't see them in mass exodus to go find what their utopia would be. My question is this: July 4th, over almost 250 years ago, we started in this vein, by God's providence, a country that has been the light of the world for the last 250 years. Think about where we would be as a world population had it not been for the United States of America. And then maybe go back into your room, meditate on that a moment, and then say, I don't like political choices that are being made, but this country allows me the benefit of having what I opinion, wrong opinions, but it allows me to have an opinion. It allows me to live free. It allows me to do the things. And I'm just sort of really sick of the folks that want to trash our country in this way, because you know what else it does? It also says all those veterans who died and gave them those rights and who serve every day across this world to give them the rights to do that, they're trashing them too. That's wrong.
Secretary of Veterans Affairs and former Georgia Congressman Doug Collins on Newsmax with Bianca De La Garza. And let's go back. We cannot just glance over this, right? Let's go back to this absolutely ridiculous comment.
And I was really disturbed. I saw, dozens and dozens of pickup trucks with, explicatives against Joe Biden on the back of them, Trump flags, and some cases just dozens of American flags, which, is also just disturbing.
Dozens of American flags, which is disturbing. Okay. I have no clue who that woman is. They didn't have it up on the graphic. She was so disturbed, she better not come to Florida because she'll have a nervous breakdown at the amount of pickup trucks with American flags and Let's Go Brandon stickers. And what about the MSNBC host, right? It doesn't show the host in the video or the host's name either, but you can clearly hear her saying, Yup, like she totally agrees. Instead of asking, why is it so disturbing to see a lot of American flags? Wouldn't that be the obvious question to ask? Oh, I was so disturbed, dozens of American flags. Wouldn't you ask, why is that disturbing? As Bianca said, MSNBC needs to be accountable as well. There is one big headline concerning ICE and immigration today, and I'm sure you will hear a lot about it on MSNBC and some other networks. Mexican boxer Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., the son of the great former champion Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., has been arrested for overstaying his visa and lying on a green card application. He'll be deported back to Mexico, where, by the way, he faces charges of organized crime. So when the left starts jumping up and down about it, he lied on his green card, number one, his application, and he's facing charges in Mexico. While his father won multiple championships in multiple weight divisions, a phenomenal champion and boxer, Junior just lost a fight to YouTube star turned boxer Jake Paul. And Rob Finnerty mentioned a Waffle House. I don't know if you caught that or not, but according to the Associated Press, the Waffle House and Denny's have removed their egg surcharges that both restaurants added to the menus earlier this year when the price of eggs was skyrocketing. In February, Waffle House instituted a 50-cent per egg surcharge at all 1,900 locations. Denny's added a surcharge, but it varied by location. Now they both got rid of the surcharges. All right, be sure to keep up with all of today's news and events on Newsmax N2 and at Newsmax.com. Also, make sure you have the app on your phone so you can stay updated anywhere, anytime. We will have full coverage of the president's signing of the One Big Beautiful Bill ceremony at the White House and other events there as well. Don't forget, the news starts each and every morning with Wake Up America, including the Wake Up America Weekend Edition on Saturday and Sunday. Saturday and Sunday Report, Saturday and Sunday Agenda, America Right Now with Tom Basili, as Rita Cosby, Lydia Serrani, Michael Savage with Savage Nation on Sunday night, documentaries, special programming, and much, much more. I'm Tony Marino, and thank you again for checking out the Newsmax Daily. I appreciate that. Have a fantastic and safe holiday, and keep on fighting the good fight.
News breaks every minute, every day. You need the app, the Newsmax app. Find it free on your smartphone store. Then watch us anytime, anywhere.
Information. Truth. Is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.